Welcome back to Top Shelf EDU. I'm your host, Aaron Lee. Today, I'm joined with Will Gilzean, who is the Senior International Officer at the University of Strathclyde. Thanks for joining me, Will.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for the opportunity. It's great to see you again.
Yeah, it's great to see you as well. Can you introduce and describe the University of Strathclyde to students who may not know much about it and what makes it stand out compared to other leading universities in the UK and internationally?
Yeah, sure. So the University of Strathclyde, first of all, I should say we're based in Scotland and we're based in Scotland's largest city, the city of Glasgow. We've got a really fantastic offering of courses, so specialising in engineering, science, humanities and social science and business. And we're based right in the heart of the city of Glasgow as well. So really fantastic opportunity to explore the city, but as well as get your academics there too. What really kind of puts us apart from other Scottish universities is the opportunity to gain work experience as part of your degree. So not only will you come and study with us, but for many of the courses, there's an opportunity to pick up paid work or work as part of your course. So you get that early opportunity to gain networking skills, work experience. And when it comes to applying for jobs at the end, one of the more common questions that we find students are getting asked is how are you going to put the work that you've studied into practice? And you can talk about that work experience there. And that's been really benefiting many of our students um, that we've seen over the last few years.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, that is really important. The building the skills and the experiences to not only possibly go on to grad school, but especially into the workforce as well. Now, is that something that all students take part in? Is it part of their degree? Is it something that they apply to on top of? And does Strathclyde help with that?
So it depends on the course that you choose. So for our humanities, I think all the courses guarantee a work placement as part of that degree. For many of our engineering and science courses and business courses, it's included as well. But there is the opportunity to, as well as take that sort of core module that's implemented within the curriculum, to pick up additional internships or work placements as well. As a student studying with us, there is the opportunity, international student studying in Scotland, there's opportunity to pick up part-time work. So you can work 20 hours a week during your term time and more hours over the holiday. So as you progress through the years in university, there is opportunity to pick up part-time work associated with the subject or course that you're doing. So there's many entry-level jobs that allow you to do part-time work over the holidays or over term time. So again, you can build up experience during that as well.
Yeah, and not only build experience, but possibly help with either paying tuition or all the fun stuff that students want to do outside of classes as well. Yeah. Now, can you describe how the academics, being from Canada or even North America, is the academics different at Strathclyde than how they would possibly study in North America?
Yeah, the it varies slightly, but not to a point where you'll experience like a big cultural shock. What we tend to see or hear from feedback from Canadian and American students who've transferred or who have a bit of education in the university level and come to Strathclyde is that there's a lot more of a focus on independent learning. Now, what that means is that you're not abandoned and left by the academics. You will have your lectures, your seminars, your tutorials, but there will be a bit more of a focus on going away and working on readings, working on practicals in your own time, alongside the support of additional teaching staff. So a bit more independence to kind of specialise in what you want to specialise in, and a bit more freedom to kind of pick your final dissertation topics and things. So that's the kind of the biggest cultural change that you would say. You're not necessarily in the classroom 9 to 5. You might be in the morning, and in the afternoon you have a bit more freedom to kind of go work on the project that you want to work on.
Okay. Now, one of the things that we do know about studying in the UK and in Scotland is that you generally focus on your core subjects right away rather than have that general 1 or 2 years experience. Um, is there any flexibility? So if a student goes in and they say, oh, okay, I want to study business, but as they start going, they kind of have an interest in something else. Is it possible to change those subjects that you're studying or degree? Or is it a little bit more difficult because of the direct entry kind of way?
No, so that is one of the biggest bonuses of choosing Scotland over the rest of the UK. So in the rest of the UK, they are 3-year degrees, and it's very much a subject you choose from day one. You're pretty much assigned to that subject. Whereas in Scotland, we're kind of midway between the rest of the UK and Canada and the US, where you do a 4-year undergraduate degree. In your first year, you will declare essentially a major. So you might declare humanities or business. In engineering, you would declare a particular engineering course you want, but there is flexibility within those subjects to change. So when it comes to the STEM subjects, you can kind of move around fairly freely within STEM providing you have the prerequisites should you wish to change into a different course. For humanities and business, it is more set up like the Canadian and the US structure, where in year one business, you'll cover a general overview of business modules, and then from year two, start specialise in the route that you want, whether it be accounting, finance, marketing, or other options. You can choose to do that from year two and specialise.
Okay, that's really good to know for all you listeners. So, if you do want to switch, there is the opportunity to switch because of the 4 year degree, not necessarily like the rest of the UK where it's three. Now, in terms of academic support, students are coming from overseas. They're adjusting to life. They're adjusting to a new university. What type of support systems do you have available to students adjusting to university life in the academic as well?
Yeah, I think one thing I'd say straight off the bat is that the academics are all very friendly. One thing that a lot of students feedback on is the fact that the academics really do have an interest in you and want the best for you. So they will know your name very quickly and recognise you in the class. If you need any additional support, the first kind of port of contact is those academics, and you can go speak to them for that. And they're all very helpful and will support you there. But we do have additional support services kind of alongside the university where you can go for like study skill workshops, and the career service can help you find those work placements, part-time work and work opportunities, additional learning and well-being. So any kind of concerns or fears that you have or any additional support that you seek, there's always a service in place there that will help you through that. And for the international students, we realise it can be a bit of a culture shock or a bit of a worry coming from Canada, coming from the US to study in Scotland. We actually have a designated international student support team who will help you with kind of everything that you need. So whether it be simple things like finding a phone plan, opening up a bank account, to the more difficult stuff like struggles with accommodation things, you can help support with that as well.
Okay, that's really good to know. Thanks for sharing all that great information. Now, we're going to move into like the student life and the campus experience. What stands out about the student experience at Strathclyde outside of the classroom? I when I came to visit, I was blown away by Glasgow and how beautiful it is. But like, how would you describe the campus culture in the community within Glasgow?
Sure. I think that's one thing that University of Strathclyde is very fortunate for. We are based right in the heart of Scotland's largest city, and it is a very young city by population as well. So within Glasgow, there's five universities and two community colleges. So it really is quite a big student town. On campus, we have our Students' Union, which is essentially a hub of kind of social life and societies and clubs. So we have over 200 clubs for sports, clubs and societies for religion, lifestyle choice, and hobbies. And they run throughout the terms, throughout the semesters, usually meeting once, twice a week for activities there. But then within wider Glasgow, you've got so much that you can see and explore. And the city of Glasgow is a very safe city. So you can kind of walk around, experience bars, restaurants, cafes. There's lots of museums and galleries to visit. And in Scotland, typically they're free entry as well. So you can go as many times as you want. And then the other bonus is public transport as well. So if you're under the age of 22, you can jump on buses in Scotland entirely for free. So you can travel all around Scotland. Across to Edinburgh, other major cities, head up the Highlands and experience that as well. Rail travel is really affordable as well. You can get a student discount if you're studying in Scotland. And in the city of Glasgow, we've got a little metro system that does a big loop around the city of Glasgow. So you can hop on and off that at a very cheap ticket daily and explore wider Glasgow too. And there's lots of really cool cafes and things to check out over the other side of Glasgow as well.
Yeah, and I can second that. Having When I came to visit, it was just so incredible about all the different opportunities and things to do, and it was really neat and very exciting for students who are going over there to study. Now, what types of students tend to thrive at Strathclyde?
Sure. I think it's a very welcoming place for everyone, to be honest. Culture-wise, they were just really excited to hear a North American accent. I mean, typically just Scottish people are. I mean, you're going to get asked a lot of questions like, what are you studying? Like, have you seen the latest Scottish TV shows? Or are you up to date with the latest Scottish culture? And if you're not, Scottish people are going to teach you all that. All the little slang words and things you need, and what kind of TV shows, like shorts, you should be watching to catch up with the culture. So yeah, there's a lot of kind of welcomeness when it comes to that.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, we're going to move into emissions a little bit. Can you walk us through how Strathclyde approaches emissions and what students need to complete, whether it's a personal statement, whether there's an interview, recommendation letters, standardized tests, and either whether that's for all applications or subject specific, and what you're looking for in a strong applicant?
Yeah. So basically, the main way to apply to there's two main ways currently to apply to Strathclyde. So it is through UCAS, which is kind of the UK application portal, and all UK universities are on there. Typically, what you would do for that portal is input your transcripts with your grades and your expected grades. You would answer a couple of short questions. It's almost like an essay, a couple of paragraphs, a little bit about yourself, and you'd have a reference, typically from a school counsellor, about you as a student within the school. The other way to do it is through a direct application, and that's available on Strathclyde's website. You click on the course page for the course you want to apply, click the apply button, and you fill out a very similar standard form. And we're looking to join Common App, so we're hopeful we'll be on Common App from this August 1st. So we'll be accepting applications through Common App for September 27. The big kind of difference, I guess, for for UK applications versus North American applications is we do focus a lot more heavily on those grades. So we're looking for you to get the minimum entry requirements, which are documented on our website. If you have them, you're in a very good position to receive an offer for Strathclyde. Typically, the offers for students who've not yet graduated would be an unconditional offer. And that unconditional offer simply just means that so long as you get X, Y, Z in your final grades, then you would get admittance to Strathclyde from September, and you would send your final transcript through once you receive it for those conditions to be cleared. Students who already have the grades that would be required will have an unconditional offer, which basically says, congratulations, you can join us in September. You've already got everything that you need. But yeah, there is more of a focus on the grades. What would happen if we have a class of 30 and 35 people with the same passing grade apply? Then they would look at that personal statement, all those sort of essay questions that we cover in UCAS. And they're looking for someone who has a real passion for the subject that they're applying for. So things you're looking for is what got you interested in the subject, why you think the University of Strathclyde is a good fit for you, and where you see where you see yourself going with that subject. It's really good if you're applying for a subject and you have some kind of experience. Now, we appreciate that you're potentially going to be a high school student, so work experience might not be a thing. But if there's anything you're doing, like if you're interested in business, for example, and your school has like a club or society, like linked to marketing, linked to kind of raising funds for the school, then that's a fantastic thing to pop in there and say that you're interested in that. If you're looking at going into something like support or care and you're working like a youth club or with the elderly at evenings or weekends, again, pop that in there because it shows that you've got an interest and a passion for that subject. So that's the sort of things we're looking for.
Okay. So instead of like different than the US where they look at all the extracurriculars, you're kind of looking for, I would say, super curriculars that are actually linked to what you want to study. Would that be right?
Yes, I would say so. Yeah, certainly. The grades definitely tops everything. We're looking for the grades first of all, and then after that, anything that's kind of relevant to the subject that you do. I mean, certainly, if you're applying for business and you're playing in the sports teams, don't necessarily leave that out. It's not unimportant. It's still fantastic to see that you kind of got a busy life on top of your studies and things too. But anything that kind of you can link it in any way to your studies, then that's a big positive, a big plus for sure.
Okay. Now, one of the other things that UK universities generally have is direct entry into certain degree programs. Do you offer direct entry into law or anything like that?
So we do offer direct entry. If you have a high enough grade, then there's opportunity to skip our year one and go straight into year two. So it depends on again which country you're applying from. And again, our course pages will stipulate kind of what the entry requirements are. But because the first year can be seen as quite general sometimes, there is the opportunity to jump into year two, particularly, I would say, for the humanities and business subjects. Sometimes the science subjects can be a little bit more difficult. However, if you are studying at a college or a community college, there is also the opportunity to transfer. So we have seen a growing number of North Americans applying for transfers from community college, but also from students from university who have done a year or two at Canadian or US institutions looking to transfer to Scottish institutions as well. There is opportunity to do that. And we just call that a transfer application. You can do that through the direct portal on our website or reach out to myself and I can help talk you through that process as well.
Okay. Now, do you look at the rigor of what students are taking in terms of their classes? Or like, are you looking for certain specific classes? Are you looking at rigor? What kind of goes into the application admissions there?
Sure. I would say that over the last few years, there has been more flexibility when it comes around testing and prerequisites for the subjects that you apply for. So, particularly in, again, humanities and business, we are quite flexible on the subjects that you've taken for prior learning when then moving to apply to university. For some of our STEM subjects, particularly maybe chemistry or biomedical sciences, and they are looking for a science subject, so a chemistry or a biology, just to make sure you have a general understanding before you come to kind of university level to study that. Again, with some of the engineering courses, sorry, there is a bit of they might be looking for a certain score in a calculus or a maths grade as well, just to ensure that you can have that initial starting point to kind of where they can build on from there.
Okay. Now, would students who are taking AP courses or like IB at the higher level in those specific courses, would that give them an advantage? Or are you just kind of looking for what courses they've taken, but not necessarily the rigor?
Yeah. So for the IB, first of all, there is again they'd be looking at maybe a potential courses or certain courses within that class. But if you get a high enough IB score with the prerequisites, say you're looking to apply for forensic chemistry, if you get a high enough overall IB score and the right grade within your chemistry, then there's opportunity to potentially jump straight into year two of that subject, and you can miss year one because as far as we see, you've done enough prior learning for that. When it comes to APs, again, if you have enough APs and at the right score, there may be the opportunity to jump straight into year two as well. But for some subjects, it is not a necessity. And we are kind of following the North American system, where there's been a bit more flexibility when it comes to accepting students for university level, and we're kind of looking to continue to follow that. And certainly, there's been a push in that in university to encourage students to kind of from all backgrounds to apply. We realise now high school students are not just studying IBs or APs. Many of them are going to university and picking up a class on a Thursday afternoon, or they're maybe doing community college credits in the evening. So what I would say is if you are from a different background of application in terms of you've got a lot of different academics, then again, feel free to reach out to myself and we can have a word, a chat with admissions to kind of see what the opportunities for you would be there. And don't be put off if you don't have APs, for example. There is opportunities and other tests and ways around that potentially.
Okay, very good to know. Now, we're going to move into the financial aid because, studying in Scotland's a little bit different than studying in Canada in terms of wise. But are there any scholarship or bursaries or financial aid opportunities available for international students, including Canadians or North Americans? And what should families know about before they apply for that?
Sure. Well, I think first of all, the important thing is it is worth kind of shopping around both in Canadian institutions and in Scottish institutions. I mean, generally the feedback that we get from North Americans, both Canadians and Americans, is that studying in Scotland can be cheaper before you even look at scholarships. Just our courses tend to be cheaper, and often the cost of living, even in the major cities like Glasgow, can be a lot more affordable than some of the North American cities. What at Strathclyde and the additional things that we offer is that we offer all North Americans a £5,000 reduction, scholarship reduction per year on tuition. So that'll bring that cost down quite significantly for starters. And then within each of the faculties, there are faculty scholarships. So we have those four faculties, and sometimes they are at a higher level, a higher discount than that 5,000. So we can't stack the scholarships. So you couldn't have two scholarships, but you might get above 5,000. So it could be anywhere potentially from 6 to 10,000 at a faculty level reduction on your tuition fees. So again, that'll bring the tuition fees down. But then there's also, again, there's the cost of living. You can look into that. Glasgow is a very affordable city, and there's a lot of opportunity with us at Strathclyde owning our own accommodation. That brings that cost down quite significantly as well.
Okay, that's great. So for all you listeners, there is opportunity to bring that cost down, whether it's just living in Glasgow because of the cheaper rent and just how things are over there, but also Strathclyde offers those scholarship and opportunities to bring the cost down as well. Thank you for that. Now, with the industry connections with Strathclyde, how strong is the alumni network, and do students benefit from it after graduation?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I think one thing I can say is over the last few months, we've been really building out our alumni connections across North America. We have many charters organised in the US, and I believe just this week the alumni team are contacting me about a new group that's set up in Toronto. So again, looking to expand those opportunities, and they were keen to reach out to offer holders to talk to them about their experience of studying in Strathclyde over the last few years, having graduated and now gone into work. I think through both the alumni and through the academics who are very engaged with industry, there is really good opportunities. Something that we hear from our academics often is that it's quite common for industry to reach out and say, hey, we've got 5 posts coming up in the next couple of months. We know you have graduating students. Can you reach out to me with 5 students that you think would be suitable for these posts? And quite often, 5 people from the same class are going into a job straight away because they're academic, because I recognise them, the work they've done, and recommended them for that post. So I think it's something that goes down really well. And the latest stats that I saw was that Strathclyde was number 2 in Scotland for graduate employability. So again, really good opportunities for the students who are coming to study with us.
Yeah, and that's really important because, when people are going to university, they're thinking about, are they going to be able to find a job right away afterwards? So that return on investment is really important. So thank you for that. What would you say the biggest myth about Strathclyde would be?
Well, that's an interesting one. um, I think generally people people just maybe don't understand like the Scottish culture or understand Scotland, and they see it on TV. I mean, there's Groundskeeper Willie and The Simpsons. If you watch some of the period dramas, you think that all Scotsmen are running around in kilts and things. I would say that Scotland is more advanced than it is often portrayed in the North American media. We are very much a multicultural, very different place from what is portrayed in the media sometimes. Yes.
Okay, great. And what would be something that surprises students after they arrive in Glasgow?
Okay, so the biggest cultural shock that the North American students tell me is the walkability of the city of Glasgow. As I say, we are Scotland's largest city, and depending on where you come from, I appreciate the different North American cities are different, but realistically, the students live on campus with us or even live in a city, they don't need a car. You can genuinely walk around everywhere and explore it. I think from Strathclyde, if you drew a 30-minute kind of bubble all the way around, you could see a lot of Glasgow, including your shops, cafes, bars, restaurants, social activities, everything. And on campus, we've got gym, library, all a 5-minute walk from the student halls. And as I say, Glasgow is really safe, so you can walk around safely as well and explore that.
Yeah, and again, I can attest to that. It was very easy to get around and very friendly people. Everybody was so kind and welcoming, and I really enjoyed my time there when I came to visit. What about the residents? So when students come over and they're going to be staying at Strathclyde, what does the residence look like? Is it first year guaranteed? Is there more than first year guarantee? How does that work, and what does that look like for students?
Yeah, sure. So as I say, we do have student accommodation on campus. Now, we can't say first year guaranteed, but what I can say is that first year international students do get priority. So if they sign up and apply for the accommodation in good time, they're in a very good position to get it. We just can't say guaranteed because there's always someone who leaves it like a day before and decides they want to try and apply for accommodation, which isn't probably going to happen, unfortunately. So, yeah, if you apply in good time, you're in a very good position to get it. Once you're in student accommodation, you can apply to stay for further years. So once you've got that accommodation, it is possible to stay kind of year 2, year 3, and maybe even onwards. But typically, the way it works for international students, usually they'll stay maybe year 1, year 2, but then they want to experience something different. So they will move out to the city just to get that different cultural experience. And we appreciate that if you're coming from North America, you might be the only person from your city or your town, so you might not know anyone. So usually you'll, let's say, move into the halls, you'll build up a friendship group, and once you have that friendship group, you're more confident about living within the city in the latter years. The accommodation on campus itself, for undergraduates, is typically an apartment or a flat with about 4 to 5 or 4 to 6 in each apartment. Everyone has their own bedroom, and many of them now are ensuite bathrooms too, but there are still some with shared bathrooms, so you'll share it within that apartment. Um, the apartments have a kitchen and living space, so typically you'll kind of cook group meals or can cook meals for yourself and then share sort of living space. And there's a larger social area on this sort of campus village as well. One of the biggest, again, cultural differences between a lot of the North American universities is that meal plans aren't really a thing in the UK. There's very few universities that will offer a meal plan as part of your studies. So it is a bit more of a fend for yourself when it comes to the cooking. But we do have canteens and things available on campus, and you can get your breakfast and lunch there. And then being in the city centre of Glasgow, there's lots of opportunities to visit many of the bars and restaurants and cafes and get dinner. You can usually get student discount with your student cards as well, so it's very affordable to do that too.
Okay, that's good to know. So it really helps students grow up a little bit in terms of having to make their own meals, but you still have the opportunity to go out and buy your meals if that's what you want to do. Okay. Um, if you could give one piece of advice to a student hoping to attend Strathclyde, what would it be?
I think it would be to reach out to either myself or reach out to the academic team as well. In fact, again, we've kind of spoken to many of the North American students who've come, and many of them will apply and just kind of turn up on day one. It's not a massive culture shock, but if you don't really kind of know kind of where you are or what's happening, it can be a little bit overwhelming at times. Like if you reach out to myself or the academics, we can give you a couple of pointers on like, for example, we have an international student support team. Many students don't realize that if they've not clicked on the right page on the website. We can link you with them, and we can kind of link you with clubs and societies that you might be interested in ahead of time as well. So you can kind of sort of build up those friendship groups, engage with the academics so they know who you are ahead before you even arrive on the campus. That's a very common thing we've been doing with many of our North Americans this year as well. So yeah, don't be afraid to kind of reach out before you arrive on campus and start gathering knowledge and kind of building resources around yourself as well.
Okay, so well, how would they reach out to you? What's your email address, or how can they get in touch with you if they have questions?
Yeah, so my email address is william.gilzean@strath.ac.uk. If you go on to the Strathclyde website and you can search the North American web pages, my email address is available on there. And everything I've kind of talking about on the podcast today, whether it be international student support, career service, all of that, you can just pop that straight into the Strathclyde search bar, and it'll pop up all those different services for you as well. If it comes when it comes to like reaching out to academics, again, just get in touch with myself. Let me know what course you're interested in, and I can organise a virtual call with an academic. Something else that we can also offer if you are interested in visiting Strathclyde or visiting Scotland or potentially shopping around a couple of universities across the UK, we do bespoke kind of personal tours for yourself and your family. We're hopefully able to show you around campus and introduce you to an academic who can talk you through that course as well. So again, you can reach out to myself and we can look to organise that for you too.
Okay, that's great. And if you have the opportunity to get on campus, it is beautiful. It is beautiful. And when you get on campus, it really gives you the opportunity to feel and see if you can see yourself there. So, we always recommend if you have the opportunity, go visit the campus. You can talk to the professors, you can talk to students, you get the feel of what it's like on that campus, and it just helps you make a more informed decision. Last question, Will. Is there anything that you would like to add that may have not come up in our conversation, or that you wish students would ask more often?
I think generally just to say that Scotland is a very welcoming place, whether it be culture, race, religion, it is a very welcoming country. When it comes to universities, we are very diverse. So a lot of opportunity to come and get a culturally diverse experience. I think again at Strathclyde, when we talk about the global to talk about the global population, we're about 20% international students on campus at Strathclyde, and that's students from the Americas, from Europe, Asia, and Africa as well as Scottish and other UK students. So a real opportunity to get a real cultural experience when you come study with us. So if that's something you're interested in, it's well worth doing. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Will. Thank you for taking the time for giving all these great insights. And for you listeners, if you have any questions, please reach out. But thank you again. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much for the time. Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in to Top Shelf EDU, your inside look at the university experience. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe and share it with someone exploring their path to higher education. We'll be back with more insights, stories, and advice to help you navigate your journey. See you next time.